In the late 1970s, a series of inexplicable events in a modest council house in Enfield, North London, would become one of the most documented and controversial paranormal cases in British history. The Enfield Poltergeist, as it came to be known, centered around the Hodgson family, particularly 11-year-old Janet and 13-year-old Margaret, capturing public attention and dividing opinions between believers and skeptics. The story began on August 30th, 1977, when Peggy Hodgson, a single mother of four, heard strange noises coming from her children's bedroom. Initially dismissing it as typical childhood mischief, she soon discovered something far more disturbing. The children's beds were shaking violently, and inexplicable knocking sounds echoed through the walls. What started as mysterious rappings quickly escalated into a full-blown paranormal nightmare that would persist for nearly 2 years. The police were among the first outsiders to witness the phenomena. WPC Carolyn Heaps signed an official statement testifying to seeing a chair move across the floor on its own. This marked the beginning of extensive documentation by various investigators, including Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair from the Society for Psychical Research. Their involvement would prove crucial in establishing the case's credibility and providing detailed records of the events that followed. The manifestations grew increasingly dramatic. Furniture moved without human contact, objects flew across rooms, and strange voices emerged from nowhere. Janet, in particular, became the focus of the activity. She would allegedly levitate, speak in a deep, gravelly voice completely unlike her own, and be thrown from her bed by an unseen force. Photographs and audio recordings captured many of these incidents, including Janet speaking in the voice of Bill Wilkins, a previous resident of the house who had died there years before. The voice phenomenon was particularly intriguing. Through Janet, the entity identifying itself as Bill Wilkins provided specific details about his life and death that were later verified. He described dying from a brain hemorrhage in a chair in the house's living room, information the Hodgson family had no prior knowledge of. The voice would often engage in conversations with investigators, displaying a distinct personality and knowledge that seemed beyond Janet's capabilities. However, skepticism followed the case closely. Critics pointed out that many of the phenomena occurred only when Janet and Margaret were present, suggesting potential fraud. The girls were caught on several occasions attempting to trick investigators, which they admitted to, claiming they wanted to test if the researchers were paying attention. This admission of occasional trickery has been used to dismiss the entire case, though supporters argue that such behavior is common in poltergeist cases, particularly those involving adolescents under extreme stress. The media attention was intense. Newspapers, television crews, and curious onlookers descended upon the modest house at 284 Green Street. The Daily Mirror captured what became one of the most famous photographs of the case, Janet apparently levitating across her bedroom. While skeptics argue the photo shows her jumping, supporters point to other evidence, including recordings and witness testimonies, that suggest genuine paranormal activity. Maurice Grosse, who spent countless hours investigating the case, became convinced of its authenticity. Despite his own daughter's recent tragic death, which critics suggested might have clouded his judgment, Grosse maintained a methodical approach to the investigation. He installed motion sensors, recording devices, and cameras throughout the house, capturing numerous unexplained phenomena. His detailed records remain some of the most compelling evidence in the case. The psychological impact on the family was severe. Peggy Hodgson, already struggling as a single mother, faced additional stress from the constant disruptions and public scrutiny. The children, particularly Janet and Margaret, experienced physical and emotional exhaustion. School attendance suffered, and the family's privacy was completely shattered. Yet they maintained their story consistently through years of investigation and questioning. The case attracted attention from various experts, including renowned demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren. Their brief involvement added another layer of controversy, as their dramatic approach and religious interpretation of the events contrasted sharply with the more measured investigation of Grosse and Playfair. The Warrens' involvement would later inspire parts of The Conjuring 2, though many involved in the original case dispute their portrayal of events. The activity gradually subsided by 1979, though occasional incidents were reported until 1980. The Hodgson family continued to live in the house until Peggy's death in 2003. Janet and Margaret have since given occasional interviews, maintaining that while they may have faked some incidents out of frustration with constant testing, the core phenomena were genuine and unexplainable. The Enfield Poltergeist remains a fascinating case study in paranormal investigation. It represents a unique confluence of documented evidence, multiple credible witnesses, and sustained investigation by qualified researchers. While definitive proof of supernatural activity remains elusive, the case has significantly influenced how we approach and document paranormal investigations. Today, the house at 284 Green Street stands as an ordinary residence, giving no indication of its extraordinary history. Yet, the events that occurred there continue to intrigue and divide opinion. The case raises important questions about the nature of paranormal phenomena, the reliability of eyewitness testimony, and the complex interplay between genuine unexplained events and human psychology. Whether viewed as a genuine paranormal occurrence, an elaborate hoax, or something in between, the Enfield Poltergeist has secured its place in the annals of paranormal history. It remains one of the most thoroughly documented cases of its kind, offering valuable insights into how we investigate and understand unexplained phenomena. The legacy of the case continues to influence paranormal research and popular culture, serving as a reminder that sometimes truth can be stranger than fiction.